awesome. That's cool. Yeah, thanks. Wow. Okay, it's good to be here tonight. Awesome to see everybody here. Wow, it's a full house. It's cool. I don't know who's more happy, Sean or myself. This is awesome. This is really good to see everybody out here. All right. So I had no idea how I was going to start this tonight, so I'll just start with a little story that just happened to me this afternoon. So it was pretty cool. So I'm out with a friend just having some lunch, and he's really jaded in church. Like church has left him with a really harsh taste in his mouth, just really bitter about it. And it's not so much he's angry at God; he's angry at the people of God. He's just basically turned his back on church, and he's turned his back on God just for that reason with religion. So it was really interesting because I never brought up the subject, but he always seems to bring it up. So and I never push it on him because he knows he doesn't really want to hear it, and usually he's looking for an argument. But it was really interesting today. So as we started our conversation, as usual, he brings something up, and we started talking, and so every time he fired something out, and I said, "Yeah, I totally agree with you. There's the religion out there. It's not true Christianity." He's like, "Yeah, it is Christianity." I'm like, "No, it's not." I said, "That's people representing something they don't understand, and that's religion." And I said, "I could totally. I don't want to do religion. Religion is not, not Jesus. Jesus even said to the Jewish leaders he says, stop doing that. That's religion. So." Anyway, so every time he fired something at me, it was just like he would just be quiet because I just came back with, "Yeah, I totally agree with you." And what was very interesting, so we got our meals and then we left and whatnot, and I ended up having to go back into the washroom because I drank like 3 coffees and some water. So, but I came back in, I met this couple, and they stopped me and they said, "We totally heard your conversation and we were praying for you while you were doing it." And I'm like, whoa. So it's like, it was great. So my buddy, there's people that are praying for him, and it's just really nice to have that confirmation from other people that were out off to the side that were listening to our conversation. I thought that was just really cool. So anyway, so tonight I just want to take a look at, we go to Colossians here for our opening verse, and it's Colossians 1:27. To them God willed to make known what the riches of the glory of the ministry among the Gentiles, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory. So Christ put everything out there for us. When he died, raised up, he received everything, and basically he turned around and gave it to us. Like, he didn't have to do that. We got it. We got it from him, and he basically, he loves us that much. He's absolutely ridiculously crazy about us that he turns around and goes, "Yeah, I just received everything. You know what? I'm giving it to these guys." And I mean, I don't know. I take a look at that and I'm going, really? And I take a look at my life, and he wants to make a home in me, and I look at that going, that is crazy love. So I want to talk about who we are in Christ. Romans 8, 16 to 17. Take a look at that. For his spirit joins with our spirit to affirm that we are God's children. And since we are his children, we are the heirs. In fact, together with Christ, we are heirs of God's glory. But if we are to share in his glory, we must also share in his suffering. Now, I just want to kind of point out, like the last part, like nobody ever wants to talk about the suffering part in all that. Living out here in like North America, we don't get the, everyone, when I think of suffering in God's suffering, we think of, Africa, Indonesia, and all the places where a lot of people get persecuted and, killed just because of their faith. We are so privileged to be out here in Canada and live in this North American continent that we don't see that. We get bad-mouthed and whatnot, and that's persecution to us. But so in his suffering in the Western side of things, I want to take a look at suffering and what God actually sees. I mean, we ask him what breaks his heart. Like when we go to God and just ask him, what breaks your heart, Lord? What hurts you? Take a look at what that is. Just ask him, and he'll give you something. He'll show you something. And it's amazing amount of things. Like every single person out there, he created. We're all, it doesn't matter what they look like, doesn't matter what they smell like. It's everybody's his creation, right? So everybody's, his. And so why do we have this stigma about who it is that gets to accept God or should be in a church or who we're supposed to be preaching to, right? We're supposed to be bringing the gospel to everybody, and this is our calling. Like this is if you're a Christian, then you are a missionary. It doesn't matter if it's in your church or in your school or wherever it is. It's that person, and there's opportunities everywhere, absolutely everywhere. I mean, you just take a look around and just ask God to open up your eyes, open up your heart, and he'll show you exactly what he wants you to see. What do we got up here? So we'll go over to Ephesians next here. And so Ephesians 2:6, for he raised us from the dead along with Christ and seated us with him in the heavenly realms because we are united with Christ. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds absolutely crazy. Like, we are with him in the heavenly realms. So we're actually sitting there with him. We're right there with him, with Jesus, united with him. And so if you take a look at that, we've been given his authority to walk here. We're ambassadors of Christ. I take a look at that and I have to read it over again. Like we're actually sitting in the heavenly realms with him. So unfortunately, we're stuck in a time zone, and being stuck in a time zone, really sucks because God's just everywhere. If you think about it, you take a look at God, and even if he wasn't omnipresent or could be everywhere, and if he was just a single entity, just one single entity, not absolutely everywhere, and because he's living in outer time. And he doesn't have time, he could be everywhere anytime he wanted to because we're living in time. So he could be that one person and go to every single person out of time. So it's quite, it's something that was just that I was thinking about. And I'm like, yeah, so it's crazy. No wonder he can be everywhere at the same time because he doesn't live in time and can go back and forth in between anything he wants. So I always thought that was pretty cool. So we're there too. So prayer is very important. So when we're praying into something or praying for something, believing that things are happening is key. Understanding and believing that when we're praying for something really true-heartedly, and we're always looking for God's timing. But let's not look at God's timing. Let's just pray. Let's just pray. So I think that's really important. So let's go to, we'll go into 1 John. Man, I see all these preachers get up here and they're drinking water all the time. It's just like, I understand why. It's just like it's a workout up here. I was talking too fast or something. So, but I never see a pastor have to get up and go to the bathroom though. Like I'm drinking all this water. I'm sitting out there and I'm drinking water and I'm going to the bathroom twice. I see preachers up here for 2 hours and they never have to go to the bathroom. I'm like, wow, that's just crazy. They're drinking coffee and they're drinking, it's like, and they're drinking all these waters. Like, what's going on? So they must be totally anointed, not having to be able to do that. So it's just, but anyway, we're going. We got John. All right. We're Ephesians. All right, lost where I was going here. No, we're not. We're in John. Hold on a second. Lost where I was going. There we go. Okay, 1 John. Love is being perfected among us in this, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment. Because he is, so are we in this world. So read that last part again. Because as he is, so are we in this world. Okay, so wrap your mind around that for a second here, okay? That's basically saying that we are like Jesus. And that's pretty crazy. if you think about that, He's given us all the authority that He has living inside of us. You know, He we're His, you know, we're His glory. Like He put His whole essence in us. We open up our hearts, and our glory comes out. You know, and it's amazing. It just I can't wrap my head around it sometimes, and I think about it. It's like, wow. I just absolutely love that verse. It's one of my favorite verses right at the end there. So 2 Corinthians. So I do a lot of reading out of the Bible. I've got there's a part coming up here I'm just going to talk about in a second, but I'm just trying to set a theme here for you guys to see where I'm kind of going. Yeah. So 2 Corinthians 5:17 to 20. So basically, this is kind of setting up for our mission as Christians. So this means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life has gone, a new life has begun. And all of this is a gift from God, who brought us back to Himself through Christ. And God has given us the task of reconciliation, giving us this task of reconciliation, reconciling people to Him. Can you get through that? Yeah. For God was in Christ, reconciling the world to Himself, no longer counting people's sins against them, and He gave us this wonderful message of reconciliation. So, we are Christ's ambassadors. God is making His appeal through us, the hope of glory. We speak for Christ when we plead, come back to God. So, who are we pleading to come back to God? Everybody else. You know, God's other kids that are just kind of walked off and kind of gone astray. So if, like I was just saying, like if you're a Christian, you're already a missionary. Like that's you're already set up. Like if people are always saying, you know, I don't know what my calling is. What am I supposed to do? I'm a Christian, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, you know, right there. You know, you've got your whole backyard out there, out in the city, out in your workplace, out in your school. You know, that's your mission field. Unless you happen to wake up one morning and God says you're going to Africa, and then that's where you're going. But if you're not going there, then you've got your whole backyard and your city to go. So that's where that is. You know, everyone has their own gifts, their own talents. You know. Some people are born with, like, look, David, he's got awesome musical talent, you know. I can't play the keyboard, you know. I can play the drums, a bit of guitar, right? People can draw, people are artists, singing. We got, you know, motorcycle riders, you got just stuntmen, whatever, you know, just naming some stuff off of my head. So everyone has their own worldly talents, right? So you take a look at this, at an analogy that I'm going to make here is just like everybody can draw. And I mean, whether it's a stick man or it's the Mona Lisa, right? Everybody can draw, but it just depends on how well you can draw, right? So some people can draw much higher than somebody else. So find out what your gift is. Everybody has a talent, like anybody else. God gave everybody talents, but some people's talents are a lot stronger than others. But find where your strength is and use it for God. Whatever His calling is for you, you'll find out pretty quick by just asking Him. And it generally is something that you're good at, and you can use that. So it's pretty cool once you sit there and just ask Him, just pray, just ask Him what the heck do you want me to do? And start with speaking out, telling your story. I mean, I'm sure everybody's got a different story. Every person you talk to has got a different story. You can use that for witnessing. You can use that for anything. Sometimes it's encouragement to somebody. Somebody might hear it. You might have just a ridiculous story at a donut shop, whatever. It could encourage somebody. You never know. You never know how God's going to use your story, your talent for the purpose, right? So, so just seek God and ask, and just ask Him to reveal what it is that you want to do, or what He wants you to do. Yeah.